Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the 25 Days of Real Christmas, a series where we review the old and new holiday favorites. My name's Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we are the Real Movie Guys. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Krampus. A boy who has had a bad Christmas accidentally summons a festive demon to his family home.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, John, Krampus is a thing.
Now it is.
In popular culture, I don't know what happened, right? I would say around the time this movie came out, like 2015, a little before that, suddenly Krampus became like super popular. Now, I don't know much about the actual Krampus, right? I'll be honest with you. I really don't. I know what this movie shows me and, tells me about the Krampus character. Now, how close that is to actual lore, I don't know. I really don't. And I probably should be more informed, so crappy on my part, I guess. But I like this movie. This movie's fun. This is one of those movies where it's kind of weird to think horror and Christmas have such a deep connection with one another. If you go through like the catalog of movies, especially holiday movies, you're going to find a lot of horror Christmas movies. There's like Black Christmas, there's a Jack Frost horror movie, The Silent Night, Deadly Night. There's a lot of crazy back Christmas catalog. Horror and Christmas, they're like thick as thieves, all right? And it's crazy to think. Krampus, no different, and I think this is a pretty fun movie overall.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like
it's an
how
interesting movie.
Yeah, I like how it's also brought to us by Michael Dougherty making a return to the series. October, we talked about Trick or Treat, which me and you both absolutely loved. I personally don't think it's on the same level as Trick or Treat. It's trying. It's not there, but this is another fun retelling of like a festive holiday. I like the idea and execution of this for sure.
It plays to like it almost is like, how when we were talking about when back then when we were talking about like Jaws,
right? And
how like your mind will play tricks on you of what this like creature is,
right?
Like this Krampus guy.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps making you think like, whoa. Like, because you don't see him for, like, a long, long time. And you're just thinking to yourself, like, what is Krampus? What does he look like?
Oh my God.
How does he act? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like in this, you're just like kind of like waiting for him to come.
No, there's definitely like a foreboding, right? You're just waiting in the shadows, like what's this thing gonna be once I finally see it? And then we get the reveal, and honestly, he doesn't disappoint with what he actually looks like. But let's go into another weird aspect of this movie. So this is definitely a horror movie, right? Without a doubt, it's definitely a horror movie. It's also a holiday movie, but it's got one more genre tacked onto it for sure, and that's comedy. This is like a dark satire of the holidays. This movie is very interesting for the fact it talks about how terrible people are. Terrible. The beginning intro of this movie I absolutely love, where it's just a scene of people at the store stomping all over each other, trying to grab gifts and shopping and just tearing people apart and just absolutely horrible. And then we meet the family, and normally I would say a negative would be the family's unlikable, but that's the point for this movie. They represent all the negativity that's in Christmas, from the overworking father.
The store, it's Roger.
I thought you said you weren't working over Christmas.
I said no traveling over Christmas. I still have to take a few calls. Hey, Roger, what's up?
Wait.
The overachieving mother who has to impress everybody and be all fancy.
Careful, kids. Remember that your Aunt Sarah likes everything to be clean and perfect, and that's why she makes so much food that you can't pronounce.
Well, I just thought you guys might like a break from macaroni and cheese with hot dogs.
Yeah, okay. Well,
The in-laws that you absolutely hate, and they're just trashy and
sister.
terrible.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
It sure is.
And just, yeah, the sister who doesn't give a crap and, you know, only cares about her boyfriend.
I like my plan a lot better.
very enticing.
They all fit like a niche, right? And they are one note. There's no denying that. They're all pretty one note characters for the most part. But the comedy they use to bring everything out, I think is fantastic. I think it's hilarious.
And who doesn't make a ham at Christmas? What are you now, a Jew?
Maybe it's time for dessert.
It's delicious, honey.
It's a little dry.
Okay. Well, mine's delicious.
Especially like the older lady who comes in.
Concha Farrell, who plays the Aunt Dorothy.
Okay, yeah.
That's who you're talking about, right?
Yeah, she's like, I feel like she adds like a good sense of humor to everything. And like, she's like, I don't go, like, and then the lady is like, I don't go to your house and complain about everything that you do.
Right.
And she's like, well, I don't really invite you over to my house, so
right,
and
and
do that.
What kind of godforsaken concoction are you whipping up now? You know how this fancy food clogs my pipes.
Well, how about we go to your trailer for Christmas next year, And after you spent weeks decorating and cooking and cleaning, I might just waddle in and start bitching and moaning about everything you've worked so hard on.
Oh, Sarah, you know.
No, Aunt Dorothy, please. For your sake, just stay the hell out of my kitchen.
it's
And I
fun
thought
to
like
see-
that was good back and forth.
Yeah, and a lot of these people are comedy heavyweights, you know, in their own right. I wouldn't say they're absolutely like legends or anything like that, but they're kind of like, if you're talking about like wrestling, you know, they're like the mid card. We got like a lot of the good, that really strong mid card talent that can carry a movie. You got your Adam Scott from Parks and Rec, who I absolutely love, and tons of like horror comedies. His dry sense of humor as the father is fantastic.
Every year gets worse. Why do we have to put up with their crap just because we share DNA?
Because that's what a family is, Max. People you try to be friends with, even though you don't have a whole lot in common.
But why?
Because, well, okay, you kind of got me there.
I think he does a really great job. Toni Collette, who we talked about early in our channel's life when we talked about Knives Out, and she's fantastic again in this movie.
They're why some people shouldn't be allowed to breed. Your words, Mom, not mine.
I never said that. I said maybe they should have to take a test before they're allowed to breed.
Conchata Farrell, who plays Aunt Dorothy, did a great job.
Aunt Dorothy, will you keep an eye on them?
Why me? I never liked kids, even when I was one.
Please.
Oh, all right. All right. Come on, guys. I'm going to teach you how to make peppermint schnapps.
And David Koechner.
Here, I thought I was the one losing it. What? You believe this senile horse shit? Evil Santa, Jesus H. Almighty. She'll be yammering about her rabbit Easter bunny come spring.
Who I love personally from The Office as Michael's best friend. Also Anchorman. You know, there's so many movies he's been in too. But again, even though they're all one note, they all carry their weight equally to where they're not really beyond a stereotype. I'll be honest with you. They're all pretty much a stereotype of who they're playing. Especially like David Koechner is just like the red-blooded, you know, Republican American.
They got more stuff.
Man, how come rich people get all the free shit?
I don't know, honey. Democrats, probably.
With a shotgun on his car and ready to like blast anybody away.
You packed guns on Christmas.
Always be prepared, Boy Scout.
It's kind of heavy.
Yeah. It's Linda's.
They don't go really beyond that, but it's still entertaining for the most part. I really do feel that. And like I said earlier, it's great to see, you know, Michael Dougherty, he really wanted to show the dark side of family togetherness. And that's essentially what this whole movie is, just showing, you know, how crappy the holiday really can be. And sometimes, we do wish for that time to come back where it was happy and joyous, but at the same time, we got to make do with what we got sometimes.
and also, if you see a snowman in front of your house,
right,
that you didn't build,
yeah,
Krampus is coming.
Yeah, let's talk about the practical effects. When we talked about Trick or Treat, I did like some of the practical effects. They had some CGI that I thought was kind of wonky. This movie's the same regard, right? Anything that's practical in this movie, I think looks really good. The elves.
Oh, shit.
With their creepy ass masks. I thought that they were scary as hell. I don't know what that was. That actually legitimately creeped me out. It reminded me of the kids from Trick or Treat, the Trick or Treater kids,
oh, yeah.
Their masks. I actually kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of, maybe there's a correlation there design wise. Krampus though, man, he hit all the right notes with his
yes.
design, from the hoof feet to the horns, the jarring open mouth with a tongue coming out. The chains just rattling, just jingling, and just the creep factor, man. The scene where he comes out of the chimney to face Omni, the grandmother, that was by far one of the coolest things I've ever seen. That made the movie for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was awesome.
And even the Santa's helpers, quote unquote, the one that creeped me out the most. There's two, one more than the other. The angel. I guess she was like an angel toy, who was like a bat. She kind of fluttered around she went like crazy. She was kind of creepy. Yeah, that's my sound effect for that. She was creepy. But no, the one that takes the cake is that Jack in the Box, man. That Jack in the Box thing.
Oh, come on.
When he opens his mouth. That thing creeped me the hell out. I'm sorry. Just when it opened its mouth and it was swallowing the kid whole. That was dark and that was creepy. That was really, really creepy. That. Ugh. Ooh, that's chill. Yeah. That actually, usually not too much bothers me in movies, but I'll give him that. That kind of made me unsettled a little bit. I don't think I can look at a Jack in the Box the same way. I love the animated scene, which I did not expect from this film at all.
A much darker, more ancient spirit. The shadow of St. Nicholas. It was Krampus.
There's a scene where Omni, she's the grandmother, she's giving us the history lesson behind Krampus, right? She's telling us the backstory and everything. We get a wonderfully animated scene just randomly tossed in this movie, and it was very different. And any other time I might have been like, that's really random, why is this in this film? But it fit the tone almost, right? Because it's adding a little sense of whimsical mystery behind everything, and the story of just again not knowing the true relation to how close this is to the actual Krampus mythos or whatever the Krampus stands out there, I guess. I thought it was really well done. I like the idea of, Krampus never gives, he only takes.
Krampus came not to reward, but to punish. Not to give, but to take. He and his helpers.
And I feel like that's like the main thing you have to remember throughout this movie, especially when we get to the end, which we'll talk about. I thought that really like carried through the whole film. I really liked it.
It's definitely one of those movies that like kind of make you think about it a little bit. Just a very interesting movie.
Right. So let's talk about the ending. Now, I know some people are divisive on the ending. John, I want to start with your thought. How did you feel? Did you like the ending, or were you disappointed? How did you feel necessarily about the ending?
No, I thought the ending was good. I thought it ended in a decent way. I didn't think it was like...
So you're okay with the not knowing, the almost unexplained ending, if you will?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious because I know it divides a lot of people. I've seen some reviewers and people just in general I've spoken to about this film where it was good, you know. Then we got to the end, I was like, wow, I didn't care, I didn't like it. At the end of this movie, essentially the family is stuck in a snow globe. It's inferred that Krampus, the main boy, he tries to appeal to Krampus's, you know, inner Santa, I guess, if you will. Max tries to convince him, you know, to spare, you know, take him and spare his family. And you know, his whole thing was, I just wish Christmas was like it used to be.
I'm sorry. I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to be.
And at the end of the movie, you're led to believe at first, like, oh, well, looks like Christmas is back to the way it was. Everyone's happy. Everything's magical.
Merry Christmas, son.
I can't. Right? Cannot believe it. This is the best.
I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to be.
And then you find out they're stuck in a snow globe, and it almost makes you think, like, are they stuck in there forever? In like a perpetual Christmas cycle of that one moment?
Yeah,
like, that's what I'm thinking, and that's pretty horrifying. If they're, you know, as bad as it was and as dark as their holiday was, is it worse to be in this fake holiday for eternity where you can never get out of it? You have to wonder if that was maybe some of the commentary they were going for in this film, where,
it's the Krampus
you know,
loop.
Maybe Christmas isn't perfect, but it's sometimes you don't want that absolute perfect season either. Sometimes that ideology is that's just as bad, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
What's coming in on this?
What's she saying? I'm not sure.
She says we're fucked.
How'd you...
Because I'm old enough to know when life is coming at you with his pants down.
Some of the negatives I do have for this film, I have a couple things that do unfortunately bring it down for me. It's very slow in the beginning. I don't know if you would agree, John. The plotting, I felt like, is very slow to start, right? Before we really get into the action. I feel like, I want to say it almost takes like almost up to half of the movie to where we finally get into like the meat and potatoes of this film. Up until then, I just felt like it dragged out a lot. Like a lot of the scenes were just dragged out for no reason at times.
I can see where you're coming at with that.
Right. I just felt like, you know, the action's great. When we get to the action, it's great. Even the creepy gingerbread men thing.
We should have gone to my brother's.
You know, it's fine. And, you know, even if the CGI is bad, I'm not against it. I feel like it just took too long. And then when we get to Krampus, you know, sometimes less is more. I've said that, but sometimes give me a little more. Like, I feel like we didn't get as much Krampus as I really wanted. I felt like the whole ending, they just blew through the end, especially when people start disappearing towards the end. Throughout the film, Krampus has been taking people, right? He took like maybe two or three of the family members. And then suddenly, like, I felt like a snap of the finger when we get to the end of the film, everybody's just gone, right? You just take boom, 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 boom.
I'll be right back! I love you.
Everyone just gets taken away, and it's like, oh, okay, we could have dragged that out a little more. They could have been a little more clever about it, to be honest. One of my favorite scenes in the film actually is the chubbier cousin who gets taken up the chimney. Right, they lure him out with like food, and they have like the gingerbread man on the hook, and they pull him up. That was inventive, and that was funny and creative, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna start taking kids like that, but that never really happens again, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
it's like a one-time only.
Yeah, it was just like a one kind of deal, and everything else is just kind of bland and generic. You know, they weren't as creative. Like, I get he's not necessarily killing them, right? I don't think any of them died necessarily, but at least take them creatively. You know, they could have done a little bit more with that. Also with the snowmen too. Like, I thought the snowman thing was really cool, where they had the snowman, you know, slowly there's like this big army of snowmen like building up in the front lawn. There was never really a payoff to that, unfortunately. That was just kind of a creepy thing they were doing, which again, I don't know if that fully worked or not for me.
I kind of feel like the snowmen were like the people that they've taken.
Yeah, I mean, I that's what I'm thinking too. But at the same, it's like, I don't know.
But yeah, like
the payoff wasn't there. You know, it just wasn't there for me. The other thing, like I said, the CGI when they do use it is pretty bad and noticeable, especially with the creepy gingerbread men. They definitely probably got the worst treatment out of all the characters. It's not the worst thing, you know. Trick or Treat didn't have too much CG, so this was maybe a little more foray into it as far as this kind of film. So again, not totally against it, but not totally convinced by it either. The last thing, like I said, and I did mention it earlier, is unfortunately, you know, as great as the cast is, a lot of them are just kind of one note. You know, they all just feel like walking stereotypes. And while essentially that is the point, it is kind of hard to ignore to some extent. They're just, you know, like I said, the acting's just not really that high of a caliber. I feel like it should be a little bit higher. It should give me a little bit more. You know, that's all I would have liked. So I think we're at that point, though, now, where we're going to give our final scores. I'm going to give Krampus a B+. Fun movie. Definitely. Not as good as Trick or Treat. It's not the holiday classic, you know, I was waiting for, you know, especially from Michael Dougherty. For me, Trick or Treat being such a surprise and such a joy. Krampus, it tries to get there. Does it succeed? Not really, in my opinion. I think it's more just the visual aspect and the cultural phenomenon that is Krampus is more interesting than anything else. A fun movie, though, if you're looking for something, you know, not too... I mean, it is a little creepy. I got to give it that. It's definitely scarier than Trick or Treat on the whole, as far as, you know, a horror movie. If you're just interested in seeing Krampus or seeing some kind of interpretation of a dark, you know, Christmas satire film, it comes with a recommend from me. John, where do you stand with this film?
I give this film a B.
See, a little sugar, a little spice. Makes everything nice.
I feel like it had just enough good stuff to it, and it was a really good movie. I mean, I could verge on a B to a B+.
Right, and that's where I was,
feel like
too.
It's
right.
one of those movies where it could go either way, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like the stuff that it did really good, did very good.
Right.
And some of the things like that brought it down were like some of the things that you said.
Mm-hmm.
But altogether, I feel like it was a good movie. Like, it definitely deserves a watch.
No, yeah, it subverted a lot of my expectations, and the reason I feel like it edges maybe a little higher than a B for me, just to that B+ range, is really just I love the practical effects. Like I said, the Krampus character did not disappoint. You know, he had a creepy silhouette, and you know, honestly, when I think of Krampus now, this is what I associate with it. Again, for all you Krampus stands out there, don't know if that's correct or not, but hey, that's how I associate the character now. John, where can the people find us at home?
You can find us on YouTube at the Real Movie Guys on YouTube. We would like you to head over to our channel, like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when we put out movies. We'll be putting out a lot this month in our holiday month.
For sure.
Or our Christmas month. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you celebrate out there. You can find us on Twitter at The Real Movie Guy on Twitter. Let us know what you thought of this movie or some of our other Christmas movies, or what was your favorite scene of this movie?
Yeah.
Or what didn't you like?
Yeah, and let us know some other like Christmas horror movies. You got some recommendations out there. Let other people know in the comments. Let us know what we should check out. This is probably going to be the only one on the list that's really in that horror range, but hey, there's always future videos to come, so you never know.
You can also listen to us on many podcasting platforms, such as...
Yes, for your listening pleasure. We are also available in podcast form at iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Overcast, Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, and Pocket Casts. Be sure to give us a listen at any of those fine places. If you already are right now, hey, greatly appreciate it. Just search up Real Movie Guys. We should pop right up. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of The Real Review. My name's Kevin. That guy over there, he's John. We are your Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Don't forget to tune in all this month as the holiday festivities continue during the 25 days of Real Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy Holidays. We'll catch you next time.
Krampus out.